Hello and welcome. During World War II, victory depended not only on tanks, planes, and soldiers, but on morale, logistics, and something far more ordinary than most people imagine, a bottle of Coca-Cola. At first glance, it sounds like a marketing myth, but during the war, Coca-Cola became deeply embedded in the American military effort, following U.S. troops across continents, oceans, and battlefields. This is not a story about advertising. It's a story about industrial mobilization, morale on the front lines, and how a civilian product became part of America's global war machine. Tonight, we'll examine how Coca-Cola reached soldiers in foxholes, how bottling plants were built near combat zones, and why U.S. military leaders believed that a simple soft drink mattered in a total war. All of it documented, all of it real. Before World War II, Coca-Cola was already a powerful American symbol. By the late 1930s, the company operated bottling plants across the United States and in dozens of countries. Coca-Cola promoted itself as affordable, familiar, and uniquely American. But when war broke out in Europe in 1939, Coca-Cola was still a civilian product with no military role. That changed after the United States entered the war in December 1941. As millions of Americans were drafted or volunteered, military planners faced a new challenge: how to maintain morale for soldiers deployed thousands of miles from home. The U.S. Army quickly learned that comfort items, small reminders of home, had a measurable impact on soldier morale and discipline. Coca-Cola's leadership recognized this moment, and so did the Pentagon. In 1941, Coca-Cola President Robert Woodruff made a now famous declaration. Every American soldier, he said, should be able to buy a bottle of Coca-Cola for 5 cents anywhere in the world, regardless of cost to the company. This was not a slogan, it was a policy. General Dwight D. Eisenhower, then Supreme Allied Commander, supported the effort. Military planners saw Coca-Cola not as a luxury, but as a morale tool, something familiar in an unfamiliar world. The U.S. Army worked with Coca-Cola to classify bottling equipment as war essential, allowing it to be shipped overseas alongside ammunition and fuel. The goal was simple. Wherever American troops went, Coca-Cola would follow. During the war, Coca-Cola built more than 60 bottling plants near active combat zones. These plants appeared in North Africa, Italy, France, the Pacific, and later in Germany itself. They were operated by specially trained technicians known as Coca-Cola men, who were given military rank and protection. The logistics were extraordinary. Machinery had to be transported through war zones. Water sources had to be purified. Glass bottles had to be reused. Sugar had to be allocated during rationing. Yet production continued. In some areas, Coca-Cola was available within days of Allied landings, sometimes even before permanent bases were fully established. For soldiers, the sight of a familiar bottle was powerful. It reminded them of home, normal life, and what they were fighting for. Military reports from the period show that Coca-Cola distribution was treated seriously. The drink was not just a refreshment, it was a psychological tool. Commanders noted that access to small comforts reduced stress, improved morale, and reinforced discipline during long deployments. Soldiers lined up for Coke during breaks, celebrations, and after combat. In letters home, many mentioned Coca-Cola as a symbol of American presence and identity. It was one of the few civilian pleasures that survived the realities of war. In an environment defined by destruction and uncertainty, that mattered more than critics later realized. The war also forced Coca-Cola to adapt in unexpected ways. In Nazi Germany, access to Coca-Cola syrup from the United States was cut off due to the Allied blockade. Rather than shut down entirely, German Coca-Cola managers created a new beverage using available ingredients like whey and fruit pulp. They called it Fanta. While Fanta is often misunderstood as a Nazi invention, the reality is more nuanced. It was a wartime substitute created under severe restrictions, not a propaganda tool. After the war, Coca-Cola reclaimed the brand and expanded it globally. The episode illustrates how deeply the company's infrastructure had spread on both sides of the conflict. When the war ended in 1945, Coca-Cola emerged transformed. Its wartime bottling plants became the foundation of a global distribution network. In many countries, Coca-Cola was the first widely available American product after liberation. For millions, it symbolized not just refreshment, but American presence, industry, and post-war recovery. Coca-Cola did not win battles, but it supported the men who did. In a total war, even something as ordinary as a soft drink could play a strategic role. If you value World War II history told honestly through logistics, human experience, and documented facts, consider subscribing to this channel. Because understanding how wars are won requires looking beyond the battlefield